Hey, welcome back. Dave Dubeau here. And today we're going to take a look at, are condos or condominiums a good idea as a rental property? We're going to look at the pros, the cons, the ins and the outs, and see if this makes sense for you. So one of the things that people look at when they're buying condos for rental properties is affordability and location. So especially if you're in a big, expensive market, let's say like Vancouver, Toronto, LA, New York, buying a single family detached house is out of the range for most people. And especially as a rental property, it just typically doesn't make sense. It's not going to cash flow. So a lot of people like to look at condominiums because they tend to be a lot less expensive, and in many circumstances, you can actually make them cash flow positively. We want to take a look at how much are they, where are they located, and what is going on in that particular area of town where you're thinking about buying that property. Is it a good rental market? Can you get enough rent from that to cover your mortgage and cover your expenses, including your condominium fees? One of the big appeals of buying a condominium as a rental property is a lot lower maintenance headaches. What do I mean by that is that typically if you're buying a condominium, everything that's on the exterior of that condo is covered by the condominium or the homeowners association. You don't have to come out of pocket to fix the roof, to take care of yard work, to shovel driveways or shovel parking lots, etc. in the wintertime, garbage removal, all that kind of stuff. That's all taken care of for you, so you don't have to think about it. So it's very, very low maintenance for you as the owner of the property. Now, of course, you still have to take care of everything that's inside of the condo. So if the toilet gets plugged up, yeah, you're still the guy that's going to get the 3 a.m. plugged toilet call, but everything else on the exterior is taken care of. So it can be a lot less hassles than dealing with a single family home. Now, one of the big downsides of investing in a condo as a rental property are the homeowner association fees or the condo fees that come along with these kind of properties. So if you're buying a condo or a townhouse, typically you have to pay a fee every single month to maintain the rest of the communal property. And quite often, with a newer property, these fees can be very, very low because the property is brand new and there isn't very much in the way of maintenance issues and things that are coming up. However, the older and older and older the property gets, typically the higher and higher those fees become as well. So for example, a couple of years ago, my wife and I were looking at condos in the city of Calgary. And we saw some, and we were looking at comparables, and the price difference in some of these properties was significant. I'm talking $50,000 to $100,000 price difference in the same kind of property, in the same area of town. We're going, why the heck is there such a huge difference in the price of these properties? And then we quickly found out that it's because of how much the monthly fee was for the different kinds of properties. So newer properties, you could be having a monthly fee of $200 or $300, and the same size property in an older building that needed more maintenance, more repairs and everything, it could be $700 or $800 a month. And that makes a huge, huge difference. So people weren't willing to pay as much for those kind of properties because there was such a high fee associated with them. So you always have to keep that in mind. The other thing is, when you buy a condo, those fees can change. They're definitely not set in stone. The condo association can vote to change those fees every year if they want to, or they can go from being super low to being quite high if enough people on the condo association vote for that. So you always have to keep that in mind. In fact, what we did when we were looking at a condo is we got a professional appraisal, not of the building of the condo unit itself, but of the condo unit and the whole building itself. So we had a professional condo appraiser kind of go through everything, go through the numbers, go through the bank records of the condo association. All of that information is available for you, and just really figure out what are the risks involved long term of buying into this property. And that reminds me of a story of a friend of mine, Russell Westcott, very, very well-known real estate investor in Canada. Anyhow, in early days, Russell was all focused on getting smoking deals, and he tells the story himself. And so he ended up, I think he bought 12 condo units in one building in kind of a smaller town in Alberta. He got a smoking deal on these properties, And when times are going great, he had them all rented out. They're cash flowing like crazy. The challenge was where he had these properties located was a very oil dependent town. So when oil prices went down and the jobs kind of went away, his vacancy rates went way up. Then the other challenge was, so he had a whole bunch of vacant units. And then just kind of a confliction of a perfect storm of crap happened to him. So not only did it have a lot of vacant units, but then the property itself needed a major overhaul. So the condo association did a cash call for each of the condo owners. I believe, if memory serves me correctly, they had to come up with $30,000 per unit. So think about that. If you owned one unit, that means you had to come up with $30,000 to help fix the roof or whatever it was that was going on there. He owned 12 units in that property. Now he was cash flow negative because he had a bunch of vacancies, and then he had to come up with 12 times 30,000 in a very short period of time to do all these major renovations to the property. That almost sunk him. So you have to keep that kind of thing in mind. It's not about getting a smoking deal on the property. It's understanding long term what that might cost for you. So again, Russell's a very, very sharp guy. He weathered the storm there. He learned his lessons. These days, he focuses a lot more on much, much newer properties. Another thing you have to look at when it comes to purchasing a condominium versus other investment classes is the appreciation potential of that property. So typically, not always, but typically condominiums do not go up in value as much as a single family home. Why not? Because there's a lot more of them and you can stack them one on top of the other. So for example, if you're in a big city like Vancouver or Los Angeles or New York, right? If you own a single family home on a decent sized lot downtown, chances are that property is worth multiple millions of dollars. So say that's a 3-bedroom house, that could be worth millions and millions of dollars. But you buy a 3-bedroom condominium that's in a tower with 100 or 200 other properties that are very, very similar, all stacked one on top of the other. Just logic tells you that the chances of that increasing in value anywhere near as much as a house on its own property is much, much lower. So typically, yes, they do go up in value, but not as much as other kinds of properties. All right, so if you're looking to buy condominiums as investment properties, as long as you understand all of those ideas, they can be a very, very good investment option. If you really want to scale things up and buy more than one of them, then you're probably going to want to work with private capital, private money, private investors. If that's what you're wanting to do, I've got the perfect resource for you. It's my book, Money Partner Formula. This is going to help you find your first or your next joint venture partners or private investors in the next few weeks, and even raise 7 figures in a matter of months without having to chase people, by attracting investors to you. So you can find out all about that. Just click on the link in the description below or go to investorattractionbook.com and get your copy today.